Scotland is considered one of the four nations of the European Union, part of the island of Great Britain. Its capital is Edinburgh, while Glasgow is the largest city. The Kingdom of Scotland was an independent state until 1707 when the Act of Union was signed. In comparison to Wales, England, and Northern Ireland, Scotland has its own political, educational, and religious systems differentiated by their Scottish culture and its development over the centuries. Like any other country, Scotland has a large variety of national symbols. The flag of Scotland, the national motto, "Nobody offends me with impunity," the song "Flower of Scotland" is popularly regarded as the anthem, and the national holiday is the Day of St. Andrews and Burns Night in honor of the national poet. On the other hand, any nation or country has war stories. Scotland on several occasions had war invaders. The Roman, English, and even Vikings tried to conquer Scotland. There were also warriors who loved the soul of Scotland, fought to the death to see this an independent country. Today, some of them are commemorated in statues, windows, and books. The statue of William Wallace, better known as Braveheart, he was a Scottish soldier who led his country against the English occupation of King Edward I in the First War of Scottish Independence. Today in Scottish society, he is regarded as the guardian of Scotland and leader of his country. You could say that nationalism was part of them from the past centuries, as the Middle Ages, and even in the 20th century. Scotland is a nation that is thousands of years old. It emerged as a nomad settlement known as Celtic culture that was shaping its history. Wars were another trigger factor in the development. Society today recognizes these events with allegorical images and monuments around every corner. The First World War is a very significant event for Scottish society because it had a higher participation compared to the second. Another factor is sports. Golf is the most popular sport in Scotland, followed by tennis, and all families tune in and live the excitement of the sport that overjoys. Whiskey is the local drink. Only in Edinburgh there are over 100 traditional factories that distribute to the country and the world. The museums are full of personalities including kings, princes, generals, and inventors. Notably, there are statues of Adam Smith everywhere with quotes from his book, The Wealth of Nations. Traditionally, people leave coins as tribute in his grave as a symbol of good luck. Despite the various dialects of Irish, Scottish, and Scottish English language, there are distinctive people who associate together as Scottish with a shared identity and a local regional identity. National and cultural identity of Scotland is defined by their sense of place, sense of history, and sense of self-defined of what it means to be Scottish. Living in a modern Scotland, have an affinity to Scotland, and to participate in Scottish society. 62% of people describe themselves as Scottish and not British, and 45% of them think that Scotland should be an independent country. However, cultural icons in Scotland have changed over the centuries. For example, the first national instrument was the clarsach or Celtic harp until it was replaced by the Great Highland bagpipe in the 15th century. Symbols like tartan, kilt, and bagpipes are widely but not universally liked by the Scots. Its establishment as symbols for the whole of Scotland, especially in the lowlands, dates back to the early 19th century. From the second half of the 17th century, the term nationalism can be understood in two different ways. As a form of love for the homeland, by race, language, and common traditions, as well as a desire for political independence. Defending the right of people's independence and unity, the right to resist oppression, and obligation to fight against a foreign rule. Some of the keywords that can relate to nationalism are honor, family, independence, virtue, glory, union, loyalty, freedom, homeland, justice, love, and order. The Scottish National Party supports and campaigns for the Scottish independence. It is the third largest political party by membership in the UK, as well as the general representation in the House of Commons. Behind the Labour Party and Conservative Party, it's the largest party of Scotland, where it dominates both the Scottish Parliament and the parliamentary delegation of the country in the UK Parliament. Its leader is Nicola Sturgeon, the current Prime Minister of Scotland. The main characteristic of Scottish independence is founded by political unrest, where most Scots are social democrats who are tired of being ruled from London by conservatives who have not made the emphasis they want to in social politics. In 2014, there was a political movement in Scotland in search of the divestiture of the European Union. There were two political groups, Yes Scotland and Conservatives for Better Together. The decision was in favor of the Conservatives with 55.3% of the vote against 44.7%. Let's see Scotland from a more subjective point. The next picture was taken at a museum in Scotland. A mannequin is seen wearing a kilt with red and black colors, which cover most of the body and the bottom of the kilt, just white sleeves. In some parts of the body, such as the arms, it has some green branches interlaced. Also, the mannequin is seen wearing a curly wig, which was very fashionable a few centuries ago. At the bottom, a round shield with Celtic engravings representing its origin. By the color of the kilt, it can be inferred that it belonged to a clan in the Scottish traditional region. However, the Scots today occupy it as a symbol of national identity and pride. During the First World War, soldiers used a Scottish khaki kilt to represent their nation. In weddings, Highland games, and current regiments, they still often wear it. They are even seen in houses as tablecloths, a sign of respect for their culture and proving to be a nationalist society. George Bernard Shaw said that nationalism is the strange belief that a country is better than another by virtue of the fact that you were born there.